Alright, so on October 22nd, about a week before recording this video, No More Room in Hell 2 became available for anybody to play. Finally, after years of speculation on whether or not this was still even going to exist, this long-awaited sequel has been released in early access for all the fans to enjoy. But there's a slight problem. As of right now, No More Room in Hell 2 is in a very sticky situation. People seem to be very split on the game, with many calling it unfinished, and this is reflected through the steadily declining Steam chart count. In fact, there's been some moments where the over-decade-old predecessor outperforms the not-even-month-old sequel. And don't just take my word for it, look at what some Steam users had to say about this. Sorry, some people have a way with words. With that all being said, you, the viewer, might be watching this video asking yourself if you should even bother with this game. I mean, if everyone is saying that No More Room in Hell 2 is butt-ass, is it actually a bad game? Well, before I talk all my shit about the sequel, I should give a brief summary of what No More Room in Hell 1 is all about, just to give you a basic understanding of what the game is and how it stands to compare to the new one. So, this is the game. I hope you enjoyed my summary. Created by
Matt Kazan
of the most creatively named company ever, the No More Room in Hell team, this zombie game was initially released as a Half-Life 2 mod in 2011, but through the fan support and even through Valve's own Steam Greenlight system, it became a standalone game just a few years later. And the support from practically everyone was incredibly warranted, as No More Room in Hell is a classic of a zombie game. In this game, there are two different modes that you and up to 7 of your friends can take on: survival and objective. Survival is it's pretty self-explanatory. You're huddled up in a small map with limiting supplies, each round more zombies will spawn and get tougher, and the end of the mode has you either extract safely or shamble around as the undead. Objective mode is a little different. Yes, of course you need to survive in this one as well, but you'll be placed in a much larger map to do certain tasks that'll randomly change each playthrough, and then, of course, you know, extract at the end. Now, by just looking at this gameplay, you might compare it to Valve's own zombie game, Left 4 Dead. And yeah, on the surface, these games are relatively similar. You and a bunch of survivors have to go from point A to point B, taking on countless hordes of zombies with weapons and loot that you find in the middle of the street, but some of the zombies you may face have some unique variants, just like in Left 4 Dead. But beyond the surface, the game is much more slower paced and far more detailed. I'm talking no mini-map, no crosshair, no ammo count unless you check the magazine itself. Hell, you don't even get a health bar. Your screen just fades to black if you die, which is terrifying. And let's not forget about the ammo calibration, the inventory weight management system. Hell, this game has probably the most terrifying infection system in any game out there, but it's okay. You can just Kurt Cobain yourself and there you go. No more infection. In short, No More Room in Hell is an absolute gem of its time, but there's one thing holding it back. Time. Sadly enough, I never really got into this game when I was younger. By the time I even had a computer that could play anything other than Apocalypse Rising on Roblox, it was 2020. So I never grew up on the game. And even though I did enjoy my time playing solo or with some random people over the few short years of playing this game, it's incredibly hard for any casual player to play with friends due to the headache-inducing matchmaking system. Seriously though, if anyone watching this video can give me an easy tutorial on how to play just one game with my friends, I will be happy, I guess. Look, the servers are dying and the only ones around are either people who grew up with this game or 13-year-olds who discovered what the Urban Dictionary is. With all things said, I recommend even just looking at No More Room in Hell 1. This game has always been free to play ever since its release, and it's still up on Steam to this day. And also, this game gets in regular updates that bring in new maps for everyone to enjoy. Yes, this game is aged, and yes, it's hard to get into a match where you and your friends can eat each other out, but God damn it, dude. But it's something at the very least you should check out, because it's obvious there's been a lot of thought, time, and care put into this cult classic. I wonder if that's the same for the sequel. I gotta be honest, I really don't know where to start with this game because it's almost nothing like its predecessor. Alright, let's start with this. No More Room in Hell 2 is a zombie survival game that was first announced to the public in 2016. At first, the No More Room in Hell team was obviously responsible for creating their own game. However, that changed around 2022 when Torn Banner Studios bought out the team for themselves and completely scrapped what was already developed by the original team, making them the publisher and developer. On top of that, a complete completely different engine would be used to create this game, the Unreal Engine 5, just to give it that little extra modern day look and feel that you wouldn't see on the 20-year-old Source engine. I'm bringing up all these major changes that No More Room in Hell 2 went through while being developed because this game does not feel like the first one in the slightest. In this early access game that now costs you $30 to play, you'll be given one map with one game mode. This is Berks County, a small town in America that's located somewhere in the middle of Pennsylvania. Apparently this takes place just a few weeks after the initial outbreak, which doesn't really make sense to me given the fact that most of these cars are somehow still running. But anyways, the local coal plant has shut down because of the outbreak, and it's up to you and 7 other people to make your way to the plant and restore power by typing in codes and flipping on pressure switches. That seems simple enough, but before you can do that, you have to do a few side objectives. Around the coal plant, there are a handful of locations where you can stop on by to take on a side quest like restoring the power there, or pumping chemicals, or something like that. But the end result of these side quests is that you always have to enter a locked away room to gather the really good loot that you really wouldn't find elsewhere. Now, you can go to as many of these places as you want in a match, but there will always be 2 randomly selected places that your group must go to before entering the coal plant. This is because, 1, the game told you to do this, but also 2, the zombies get tough. At first, when you're the farthest away from the plant, this might seem like a non-issue. A few pipe hits to the head will take care of them, but the closer you get to the plant, zombies will become faster, spongier, and screamier. On top of that, your entire group would not be together initially, as everybody will be spawned sporadically throughout the map. There will be a lot of cases where by the time you meet up with somebody, they want to eat you out. To me, this is the best thing that the game has going for it. I really like the map and the side objectives. I put in 10 whole hours even before I thought of writing the script. I know, that's basically an ungodly amount of playtime for any reviewer, and still, there are a few places that I've yet to see. The environment itself is also pretty cool. Although it is dark and hard to see, the few bright spots from the abandoned houses, cars, and even from the forest fire on the bottom of the map gives you enough light to see what's around you while also being scared shitless. I especially love those scripted events such as some burned trees falling down near you. It's a nice touch to the already dangerous atmosphere. The side objectives are pretty cool too. One interesting area is the church that you can go to for some decent supplies, but you need to turn on the power first and activate the sermon to loot it. And hearing what the sermon has to say in his final words in a church full of people, probably for the last time, is fucking cool.
But today is not a normal Sunday. I wanted to tell you all where we're at, why we're here.
The main objective, though, is less interesting. Outside, the coal plant looks scary enough. You'll encounter hundreds of zombies on your way inside the lockdown area, but once you enter the plant, turning everything back on is very monotonous since the only 2 actions that you have to do for about 10 to 15 minutes is to transfer a code from the book to the screen, and then you put the pressure valves at the correct mark. And there you go, you can now run a power plant. The last general thing about No More Room in Hell 2 is the character progression. On top of your account level, which tells you how good you are at the game, you also have a character level. You can level this up by collecting basic supplies throughout the world and not dying. If you do die, every XP and skill that you have earned will be wiped away for whichever new character you play as. If your character survives a handful of matches, however, you'll be put into the Nightmare difficulty. Ooh, that's just fancy wording to say the zombies are spongier. It's not really that fun. I know some people don't like the character progression, but I personally don't mind it. It makes every character unique by having random skills that you can choose from. It also gives this one-note early access game some sliver of replayability value, which No More Room in Hell 2 desperately needs. The only thing I don't really like about this is that you can't choose what difficulty to play. Grinding out the easier matches just to play the harder difficulty is lame, and there's a reason why 95% of the games out there let you choose your own difficulty. With the basics of the game and what I generally like about it out of the way, it's time to talk about the flat-out bad. And the bad is that this game is nowhere near finished. I know No More Room in Hell 2 was always advertised as an early access game when it came out, but the way I see it is that if a publisher is willing to release an early access game for all to play, and it is at a set price, then the game shouldn't be exempt from harsh criticism. And I'd like to mention that the first title is still free to play with far more content than this early access game. So I will harshly criticize No More Room in Hell 2 because this game is far too rushed. First and foremost, I'd never had a stable frame rate to save my life. I would often coast around 40 40 to 50 FPS, but if I was in a combat with a group of zombies, I encountered heavy drops. I would basically have to pray not to catch a stray from a zombie due to the frame drop. Holy fuck, that was like an MF Doom bar.
There's only one beer left.
As far as the combat goes, there's nothing to write home about. You have your typical WASD for movement, shift to run, and space to jump. As far as I can tell, there isn't any way to dodge or block an attack, which is boring to not have in a game where lifeless creatures throw themselves towards you. You can also shove zombies away by using the right click button, but I don't think I've ever used that before because it's so fucking useless. In fact, melee combat is just underutilized compared to the first game. Unlike the decade-old game, you'll immediately be given a wrench to fight with, and it does moderate damage against these zombies. Other melee weapons can include a wrench or a knife, as well as two-handed weapons like an axe or some rebar. Although some of these weapons slice through zombies like it's one of those glowing knife videos, a good share, like the rebar for example, should be avoided as they don't do any damage at all. Really, by the time you clear out one side objective, you're just better off using guns. Shooting is not punishing in the slightest, especially late in the match where there'll be dozens of zombies coming at you no matter what. Also, you'll find more than enough ammo lying around the world, and with all things considered, it's just far more satisfying to blow a zombie's head off with an Olympia than a puny little baseball bat. But if you want to be a little dangerous, you can stick with hitting the zombies to death. It's not like getting hurt by the zombies actually affect you all that much, as the infection system wasn't even added upon launch to this game. Speaking of zombies, they are a buggy mess. There would be many times where I would encounter a zombie and their animations would cause them to get stuck. I noticed this a bit when the zombies were on some stairs, but I really noticed this when there would be 20 plus zombies stuck in the middle of the coal power plant. I also noticed zombies love to spawn right next to the player. Typically, if your character produces light or sound, they'll attract more zombies, just like in every zombie media ever. But the trick the devs did to make it seem like you're getting swarmed is by spawning the zombies out of sight so the immersion isn't broken. However, this design is completely ruined because the player can just turn around to see the zombie spawn in, and in some cases, they would just spawn in your face. I could go on and on about how these zombies are unintentionally the funniest enemies in any game ever, and how they should not have seen the public eye at this current moment. Some other notable fuck-ups that I've noticed included me coming across a giant invisible wall that prevents you from walking to parts that should be traversable in the map. I've come across some buildings that have nearby sheds that look fully decked out, but the main building itself doesn't have an interior or even a normally functioning door. Oh, and there was this one game where one of the only times that I died was because my friend and I got stuck in a fenced-in area that we thought we could enter because of the entry point and the rare loot inside it. But it turns out that once you're in there, you're stuck and not even the zombies can finish you off because their pathfinding is broken, forcing you to either find a way to die or watch your friends extract without you. There was a match where I couldn't sprint, which is unironically a more fun challenge than nightmare difficulty. Okay, so the no sprinting glitch is doing it again.
What?
Yeah, I can't sprint.
That's awesome.
As of making this video, Tornbetter Studio has done a lot of action to at least fix the buggier and unbalanced part of the game. After releasing a blog post addressing all the issues many players are talking about, the developers have already rolled out 2 hotfixes to help with the matchmaking, making the harder zombies feel a lot less spongier, balancing the bomb damage, and many more issues. In fact, by the time this video is out, a 3rd hotfix should even be out to help stabilize the game even more. But even as this game gets fixed over the weeks, there's still another overarching problem in No More Room in Hell 2, it doesn't feel like No More Room in Hell. Of course, I didn't expect nor do I want a one-to-one copy of this game from the first title, but man, if you put these 2 games together, you would not think they were from the same franchise. To give you a general list of what the 2013 game has that the 2024 doesn't, No More Room in Hell 2 does not have a player infection system, weighted inventory, ammo calibers, more than 7 guns, more than 1 map, game ending yourself, more than 1 game mode, infected children, armored zombies, character customization, weapon customization, private lobbies, changeable difficulties, pills to stop infection, a starting lighter instead of a flashlight, walkie-talkies, different ways to get past barricades, a detailed healing animation that lasts more than 2 milliseconds, custom-made maps, naturally spawning crawlers, and throwing your friends into a group of zombies to use them as a distraction. Okay, I lied about the last one, but how cool would it be to have in this game? Now, Tornbetter Studios has also addressed the issue within their post, post, as they discuss how they've been hearing what the main fanbase wants and how they can work it in. It seems like the company knows what to do to make this game feel a lot more like No More Room in Hell, as just about all the main issues I talked about are mentioned in this post. I don't want to take up a bunch of time just going in depth about this post, but if you want to read it for yourself, I'll leave a link for it in the description. But some of the things Torn Banner Studios is developing, or at least conceptualizing, is an infection system, missions with different endings, and choosing your own difficulty, but this one is strangely in weird wording. Overall, the only word I can describe this game is disappointing. After years of waiting around with barely any word on whether this was still even going to be a thing, No More Room in Hell 2 proved that it should have stayed in the dark for a little more time. Releasing any type of game at this rush state, while also not having any replayable content, is downright pathetic. And saying that this is just because it's an early access game, after this game was in development since 2016, and then rebuilt from the ground up midway through, is just not a good enough excuse to release a game at $30. Do I think the game is doomed, though? Not really. Although I can't say I like the game itself right now, I like the fundamentals of No More Room in Hell 2. If ironed out correctly, and if there is a constant stream of updates to keep the game fresh just like its predecessor, it should have like a cyberpunk level of resurgence. I don't think it'll go down the Payday 3 route, where the game's as bad months later as it was released, and I don't think this game can be as intricate as the predecessor, but Torn Banner Studio has the slightest opportunity to turn No More Room in Hell 2 around and make it into a decent game. I appreciate the roadmap in the game where Torn Banner has laid out what's coming next and some ideas they might be coming up with. Hell, I believe that if Torn Banner waited for the in-development list to be completed before releasing the early access game, this would be 10 times more enjoyable than what it is now. I also really appreciate the dedication that Torn Banner Studios has to improve this game. 2 hotfixes and a third one on its way in less than a month shows to me that the company is willing to do what it takes to make this game into something enjoyable to play. Even the blog post that I briefly mentioned gives me some hope. Torn Banner knows exactly what the direction the core fan base wants No More Room in Hell 2 to go down, which is exactly what you want to hear from a company. And with this promised first major update teased at the end of November, I might have to come back to see what exactly has been added to the game. So all in all, do I recommend this $30 game? Fuck no. Maybe give it 6 months to a year to see how progress has come along, and then maybe buy the game to try it out. But as of right now, you'll have more entertainment using that $30 to buy 6 Shoe Nice videos on Cameo. So to give this game a rating that I'll never use again, I would rate No More Room in Hell 2 a solid 2.5 Sam B heads out of 10. Alright, so, this is the end of the video. There's no more review, there's no more Room in Hell. But as many of you may know, I have not been active for a solid 3 weeks, maybe even a solid 4 weeks. I don't know, I haven't kept up. Many of you have been asking where I've been at. Some of you thought Artur locked me up in his basement to play Stray Souls 24/7. But I'm here to give you the real reason why I've been gone for so long. And the truth is, when there's no more room in hell, there's no more room for mom's pussy.